we're going to be reviewing game week 32 of the Premier League season. So, the weekend results have been concluded. Now there is still a Monday night game which will be taking place probably by the time you see this will be currently taking place or have taken place between Bournemouth and Fulham. And it's quite a big clash actually in terms of for the European places, but all the other results have taken place, so we're going to have a look at those because there were some pretty interesting results to say the least, so I'll give my thoughts and opinions on them, but let's get straight into it. So Manchester City 5, Crystal Palace 2, goals from Kevin De Bruyne, Omar Marmoush, Mateo Kovacic, James McAtee, Nico O'Reilly, Abrici Eze and Chris Richards. Wow, I'm literally out of breath from just reading all of those goal scorers. It's pretty insane. 7 goals, 7 different goal scorers in a absolutely mad game. Crystal Palace took a shock 2-0 lead within 20 minutes at the Etihad Stadium, and we were all sort of thinking, okay, Man City, it's going to be another one of those cookout sessions. It's going to be another Man City disaster class waiting to happen. But to be fair, Palace could have even scored more to make it 3. But fair play to Man City because they responded so well, and they scored 2 goals inside 3 minutes, and they were level. And the second half was just an annihilation from Man City. City were terrific, they truly were, and it was maybe the first time in a long time that it almost felt like City were back to their best. This really did feel like a Man City of last season performance where they're 2-0 down in a game, but it almost felt, last season and years gone by, it would feel inevitable that Man City would find a way to win this. This season, as I said, it was sort of inevitable. It felt like that they were going to lose. However, they almost rolled back the years with this performance. It was a fantastic performance. I gotta give it to them. And there's one man in particular, actually, Kevin De Bruyne, who, talk about rolling back the years. He was absolutely scintillating in this one. He has not had a good season, to say the least, and of course is going to be leaving Manchester City at the end of this season. That is confirmed, but it looks like he's going to be giving his all to make sure he leaves them in the Champions League, because this was a terrific performance by him. He really led the team. It was a vintage De Bruyne performance, really. So yeah, if he continues to perform like this for the rest of the season, Man City are going to be in a great position to get top 4 or top 5. Sorry, I keep saying top 4 to be honest, but it's top 5 Champions League spots now, isn't it? Another goal for Omar Marmoush as well. It's done fantastic. Nico O'Reilly as well, getting a goal since he's been at left back. He's been terrific. Ederson got another assist. I think he's got 4 assists this season, which is like more goal contributions than a bunch of strikers. I'm pretty sure. I think it's more than like Højlund and stuff. It's pretty insane. But yeah, huge credit to Man City because they came back in fantastic fashion, deserved to win the game, and it's a big win as well in terms of that race for the Champions League. They needed to win this game and they did. So yeah, well done to Man City, but a really poor collapse from Crystal Palace in that second half. Alright, next up we have Brighton 2, Leicester City 2. Got some Joao Pedro, Steffi Mavididi and Caleb Akoli. So a little bit of a shock here. Leicester City end their barren run and pick up a point finally, and finally score some goals. I think they hadn't scored in like 6-7 games or something, and they managed to get 2 in this game. So look, Leicester are obviously going down. It's a matter of when, not if, but there is at least some hope here with performances and results like this that they are still fighting, and they actually played pretty well in general in this one. They even could have won the game. El Canoes hit the post fairly late on, I think, as well here, yeah. Actually, was it that one? I don't know, but yeah, they had plenty of chances actually, Leicester, and for once it was a really good performance from them. So as I said, they're probably going down, but it's at least something to hang their hats on, Leicester fans to be happy with, and Ruud van Nistelrooy to take something with that. The players are still fighting and they can pull in decent performances like this. They'll be annoyed though because they definitely could have won this. I mean, both goals they conceded were penalties. The first one was pretty clear cut, a handball from Cody. The second one, a little bit debatable, but I mean it was a ball from Luke Thomas, so I'd be a little bit annoyed that they didn't end up winning this game. But a point is decent, and it's something, it's progress at least for them. From a Brighton perspective though, wow. I mean, this result has pretty much put the nail in the coffin of their European hopes. They're still in the race, of course, but I mean, their recent form has been pretty poor. Like their last few results, it's been pretty bad few weeks. Knocked out of the FA Cup by Forest, lose 3-0 to Villa, lose the derby against Palace, and now dropping points at home to Leicester. Simply, if you want to get into European positions, you have to be winning games like this at home against Leicester. And I mean, if it wasn't for 2 penalties, they would have lost this game. So yeah, really, really bad from Brighton in this one. And as I said, I think their hopes of European football are almost over at this point, because you just can't be dropping points like this and pulling in performances like that if you want to be getting into Europe. Simply can't. Right, next up we have Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 1, goal from Abdoulaye Doucouré. So, speaking of the European places, there was a big twist here as a shock win really for Everton, who away from home beat third place Nottingham Forest 1-0, a late Doucouré dagger in the 94th minute, sinking Forest, and Everton deserved it, to be fair. They were the better side. I mean, look at that. Forest were so poor, they just really couldn't create anything in this game, and Everton had plenty of chances. They were the better side, they were the ones on the front foot, and in the end, I mean, it was a Murillo error, Murillo has been absolutely amazing this season, but he completely messed up for that goal at the end. And in the end, yeah, Doucouré puts it away, a nice celebration as well, asking for a new contract. It was pretty funny, but I mean, fair play Everton, fantastic victory, and it's another win, more points under Moyes. They've just been absolutely terrific, and they're really building some momentum going into next season under Moyes. With a full season under his belt, I'm really excited to see what he can do with this Everton side, because they are, this isn't just a new manager bounce anymore, because he's been in the job for quite some time and they're still picking up results like this. So well done to Everton, but wow, Forest, a really poor display, and this is not good. This is not good for Forest at all. It's back-to-back losses now after losing to Villa last week, now losing to Everton. They're really losing ground in this top 5 race now. And I remember when I made my predictions video with 10 games to go, I did say that I thought maybe Forest, I've seen this with a lot of teams in the past where they sort of, as they play with no pressure throughout the whole season, and then it comes to the last 10 games and suddenly when it's within reach and there's actually something to play for now in the season, they start falling away. And maybe you're starting to see this now with Forest, where the pressure and the expectation of getting Champions League football is just getting them a little bit. But look, they're still in the top 5, but this result is definitely not good, and they're gonna need to bounce back in the next one, because if they lose 3 in a row, then they're really in a spot of bother. But yeah, not a good result for them. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 3, Ollie Watkins, Daniel Marlett and John McGinn with the goals. So Forest's loss was not helped by this result, because Villa picked up a victory in the end. They made a little bit of hard work of it against relegated Southampton. Yeah, 3 substitutes came off the bench and had to rescue them: Watkins, Marlin and McGinn, because Marco Asensio could not get the job done. This guy missed 2 penalties in the game. I don't think he'll be taking a penalty anymore. But yeah, I mean, Villa absolutely dominated, but they just couldn't put their chances away in this one. Look at that, they were by far the better team in this one. They couldn't put their chance away. They had to bring on some of the big boys, and they eventually got it done. Watkins with a amazing finish and goal for his one. Marlin getting on the score sheet again as well. And yes, it's a good confidence booster for Villa going into a big game midweek against PSG. Keeping up ground in the Champions League spots, and as I said, building some momentum going into that massive tie against PSG. So they'll be pretty happy with this win. Southampton, obviously, without a manager, sacked Ivan Juric. So yeah, it's really nothing to play for. They weren't particularly great in this one, but I don't think anyone's really expecting much from them at this point. And yeah, their season's already over, isn't it? Alright, next up we have Arsenal 1, Brentford 1, goals from Thomas Partey and Johan Visser. So, even shared here, and yeah, it's small drop points from Arsenal, which means Liverpool are edging closer to the title mathematically. But to be fair, it's 2 teams who really don't have anything to play for. It wasn't a particularly great watch, if I'm being honest. Because as I said, you've got 2 teams who don't really have anything to play for in the league. Like, Arsenal know the title is wrapped up at this point. All their eggs are in the Champions League basket. And Brentford as well, you know. Maybe if they put an amazing run together, might be able to get European football, but it's highly unlikely at this point. So, yeah, both teams, you know, didn't really offer much in this game. Arsenal, as expected, rotated quite heavily. No Saka, no Odegaard, no Timber, no Lewis Skelly, no Marino. Yeah, I mean, it's, as I said, it's to be expected, considering they've got a massive game against Real Madrid coming up. And that's where their season lies, not the Premier League at this point. So yeah, this really was a nothing game. It ended a draw. A nice counter-attack from Arsenal, I guess, for the Partey goal, but it's not really much else I can say in this one. It's maybe just a bit disappointing Arsenal didn't get a win, because it would have been nice to carry that momentum into the Madrid game, but it's really not the end of the world. As I said, these games don't really mean much for either team anymore. Alright, Chelsea 2, Ipswich 2, goals from own goal from Axel Tuanzebe, a goal from Jadon Sancho, Julian Zizo and Ben Johnson. Right, I might lose my head here, I can't lie, because this was shambolic. After Man City and Villa won, we had to win this game. We had to win this game against Ipswich at home. This was the game. This was the game which was meant to be the 3 points in the bag, and we didn't get the job done, and we had to come back from 2 down and salvage a late point against 19th, pretty much a championship side. They're pretty much relegated at this point, 18th Ipswich Town. We went 2-0 down to basically a championship side who weren't even playing their best player. Liam Delap, he was on the bench. is over. So top 5. Champions League football is finito, done. It's over for Chelsea. I don't, like, you might think I'm overreacting, but I'm not. Like, the performances we've been pulling in have been abysmal. The last since Christmas, the performances have been abysmal. We probably had about 4 or 5 good performances since Christmas. And same story here. First half, another absolutely shambolic first half. The defending for both goals far too easily. We get absolutely picked apart. So poor at the back, these guys, all of them. And then the attack, when Ipswich part the bus and playing a low block, we don't know what to do. We can't create any chances. We cannot do anything in attack because none of these attackers are capable of that individual brilliance to break down that low block. Now Sancho, fair play, he actually did deliver that individual brilliance with a great goal. And Madueke as well with a nice little chink past his player. But we needed more than that. And we don't know, and this comes down to Maresca as well, we don't know how to break down these low blocks like that. We barely created any chances. And as I said, Champions League football is done because not only are we not playing well, but our easiest game of the season, like for the rest of the season, we don't win. And now look at these fixtures. Fulham away, Everton, Liverpool, Newcastle away, United and Forest away. It's over. It's over. We're not getting top 5. Like we cannot beat Ipswich down at home. We just about get a draw against them. And you expect me to think we're going to beat Liverpool, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Fulham. You think we're going to beat all of these teams? You're absolutely delusional. You are delusional if you think that, honestly. It's just a joke. It's a joke. I've really had enough of this team. I have actually had enough of Chelsea this season. I've been pretty patient. I've been pretty, optimistic, quiet in these reviews about Chelsea, but my head's gone at this point. Like, I've had enough. I've seen enough. 1 point in 2 games against 18th place Ipswich Town. They beat us. They almost did the double over us. Ipswich Town almost did the double over us. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Oh man, I'm moving on before I just completely lose it even more. Liverpool 2, West Ham United 1. Goals from Luis Diaz, Virgil van Dijk and a known goal from Andy Robertson. So Liverpool take another step closer to the Premier League title. They are now 2 wins away from the Premier League title. After a pretty nervy win against West Ham, they left it late, but an 89th minute winner from the captain Van Dijk. Seals the win. To be fair, West Ham probably deserved at least a point in this game. West Ham had plenty of chances, but Alisson made some really good saves. Even after Liverpool scored, West Ham hit the bar afterwards. Like, West Ham played pretty well and Liverpool were not great at all, but they found a way to win. Mo Salah, after signing his new contract, put in a great assist for Luis Diaz's goal. The own goal was pretty comical with Robertson and Van Dijk. To be fair, it's probably more Van Dijk's fault because, based on my reaction, it seemed like Robertson was probably screaming at Van Dijk like, leave it. And Van Dijk didn't, but either way, he made up for it and Liverpool got the win in the end. They're sort of stumbling to this title, not great performance again, but at the end of the day, who gives a damn, right? Like, who cares? They're gonna win the league, so they've afforded themselves this luxury of playing poorly and dropping points if they need to. thanks to their performances earlier on in the season. So it was an amazing performance. They rode their luck a little bit, but they get the win, and now we are just 2 wins away from the Prem title. Alright, next up, Wolves 4, Spurs 2. Goals from Aït-Nouri, own goal from Spence, Strand Larsen, Cunha, Matthias Dell and Richarlison. So a 6-goal thriller in this one, and Wolves get another victory, beating Spurs here. Their 4th win in a row, and they edge even closer. I mean, it's over, but they edge even closer to be mathematically safe from the drop. Yeah, fantastic performance here, and they just completely punish Spurs. They completely punish Spurs in this one. A good performance from Wolves. Vita Pereira is doing an amazing job right now, and they're really building some momentum heading into next season. Matheus Cunha returned off the bench after his suspension and managed to get a goal as well, which was nice. Strand Larsen got another goal. I think he scored in like his last 4 games. Yeah, it was a really good performance from Wolves. And as I said, they're really building momentum into next year, which is great because I'm really intrigued to see what they do with a full season under Pereira next year. As for Spurs though, oh my word, this was absolutely comical. Absolutely comical. Literally every single goal was pretty much an individual error. Like Vicario had an absolute stinker in goal. Spence a comical own goal. Bergvall for the last goal. Don't know what on earth he's doing. Christian Romero. I mean, for the third goal, it's like his controller disconnected or something. He just like completely fumbled. What the hell has happened to him, by the way? I mean, Romero is a fantastic defender, but he has been awful this season, and it's another absolute howler of performance from him. Even for the Bergvall error, like he's just sort of standing there, he ain't even reacting quick enough. Cunha bursts past Ben Davies, messes up his challenge fair. I mean, it was like a clown show at the back from Spurs. It was so poor. So poor. The only bright spot was Matthias Dell, really. Dell was pretty decent in this game and managed to get another goal. But wow, it's another loss for Spurs, and this is not what they needed going into the Europa League second leg tie versus Frankfurt. Because, they needed to build some momentum. They played a fairly strong team as well, and they got absolutely blamed. Individual error after individual error. Another loss. It is their 17th loss of the season. 17 losses in a Premier League season. That is an absolute joke. Absolute joke. And Everton have moved above them as well. So this is just an absolutely disgraceful season from Spurs. And boy, all I'm saying is Ange Bella hope he wins that midweek tie against Frankfurt. Otherwise, I think his job is completely gone after another loss. Alright, and finally, Newcastle United 4, Man United 1. Goals from Sandro Tonali, Harvey Barnes, Bruno Guimaraes and Alejandro Garnacho. So, speaking of teams in the mud, Man United get absolutely smacked by Newcastle in this game. Newcastle, who, of course, were without any help for this game because he was hospitalised. Hopefully he is okay. But it didn't matter because, of course, they're coming up against United, who are just rubbish. I mean, they are rubbish. And it's funny because Spurs and United are having a similar season, and it's the exact same problems that Spurs had in the Wolves game, that United had in this game. Just absolute clown show at the back. I mean, it was a literal circus. Victor Lindelof, probably for the first goal, should have got close to Isak far too easily. cut through Harvey Barnes. The first goal, 3 simple passes not cut out. His brace, Harvey Barnes' second goal, a nice solo run, but absolutely awful how none of his defenders pull in a challenge. And then, oh man, to top it off, outside Bayern Deer, he comes in for Onana, who was dropped after the stinker versus Leon, and then Bayern Deer just has an absolute horror show and makes an error for the 4th goal. It's hilarious because I know I saw a lot of people calling United fans calling for Bayern Deer to come in, and I was like, why would you want this guy to come in? Like, I remember him against Spurs in the League Cup, he was rubbish. Like, this guy is not better than Onana, and he proved it here. So I just got 2 absolutely rubbish keepers now, so I don't know what on earth he's doing for the Leon game. Xerxes, he got injured in this one. I mean, wasn't really doing too much anyway. Hoyland comes on and just stinks out the place as per usual. I mean, this guy is absolutely awful. Mount comes on, was rubbish. I mean, I felt bad for Harry Amas, got chucked in for his first debut. Didn't really have the best of games. It was just an absolute horror show. It was absolute horror show at the back from Man United. So bad, and similar to Spurs, they rotated a little bit, but you know, you don't want to be getting smacked like this before a big game. It's fine to maybe lose it, because I know your sights are on Leon in midweek, but to get smacked like this, it just really hurts for confidence. It really stunts momentum, and that's not what you need going into a big European tie. It's not what you need. But fair play Newcastle, a really nice goal from Denali Barnes with a brace, fair play to him. Yeah, it was fairly comfortable in the end for Newcastle, but it's a really big win for them. They make a big step going into the top 5. I believe they move into the top 5 if we have a look at the table now. Yeah, so Newcastle are in 4th now, moving ahead of Chelsea, and yeah, so Newcastle are in a pretty good position now to qualify. That is 4 wins in a row as well. They're in some really good form, but look how tight this is now, from Villa to Forest, because of course Forest have lost those 2 back to back. They are now only 3 points ahead of 7th place Villa, so it's really tight here. And it's a big game with Fulham Bournemouth, because if Fulham win, then don't rule them off. They're only 2 points away from Villa. But if they don't, then yeah, I think it's probably done for them there. But yeah, elsewhere in the table, Everton moved above United, and Spurs were now 15th and 14th. Wolves are above West Ham, now we're in 17th, and yeah, the bottom 3 of course remains the same. Right before we go, let's just have a look at some of the other results across Europe. So I want to have a look at the Championship, because there was a couple twists in the title race there, and it's coming towards a close very soon. How many we got? We've got 6 games left of the Champions League season. Oh, sorry, 4 games. Only 4 games left, and Leeds and Burnley managed to get wins, but Sheffield United were 1-0 up and collapsed late on versus Plymouth, meaning they move out of automatic promotion spots, and it is now looking very likely that Burnley and Leeds are going to be going up for the automatic promotion spots. Sheffield United have collapsed 3 losses in a row, and they've just, completely fallen away here. Now 5 points away from the top 2, so unless Leeds and Burnley completely bottle it, it looks like they're going up. There was, of course, some twists at the bottom with Plymouth winning that game. Plymouth are now only 3 points away from safety, so this is really, really tight here at the bottom. Luton completely messed up. They had a big chance. They lost to 10 men Blackburn. In a big loss, really, because if they had won that, they could have moved out of the relegation zone. But yeah, it's really all it sort of remains the same for now. Atletico are still yet to play. We'll see what happens there, but Real Madrid, they had to win because Barcelona just about beat Leganes. It was a hard-fought victory, but they beat Leganes 1-0 to get the win. And Real Madrid, in just about dramatic fashion, got the win. Kylian Mbappe got his first red card for Real Madrid, got sent off in this one, but Madrid dug in. Alaves eventually got a red to make it 10v10, and Madrid get the win just about, which is good for them because it does keep the pressure on Barcelona here, who are still 5 points ahead of them. So yeah, still all to play for there, and it's of course good for Madrid getting a win ahead of the Champions League tie versus Arsenal. There's also a big win here as well. Villarreal beat Betis 2-1 in the race for Europe. Okay, and then we move to Serie A. So Serie A, Inter Milan won their game in fairly comfortable fashion. They beat Cagliari 3-1, but Napoli are still to play on Monday, so Napoli must win to keep pace. Juve beat Lecce. There was a big game here. Atalanta beating Bologna. Atalanta finally put away their horrid run of form, and this is a really big win in the top 4 battle, with Fiorentina dropping points and a Rome derby. It ended 1-1. It now means that Atalanta have a little bit of breathing room here. They move 4 points ahead of Bologna, who have dropped out of the top 4, and Juve are now in there 2 points ahead of them. So yeah, it's still very tight here, but it looks like Atalanta was a massive win for them. It looks like they're slowly pulling away again, but it's all to play for between these guys. And we go to the Bundesliga. There was a really good game. It was the Klassiker, Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund, and it ended 2-2. It was a fantastic game. I was watching this. It was fantastic. The second half was unreal. Bayern Munich were not great in this one. They kind of unlucky not to lose. Actually, Dortmund had a big chance at the end. Pascal Gross almost won it in the last second, but yeah, Bayern Munich were not great and they got a draw. And if they had won this, it would have pretty much ended the title race, because earlier in the day, Leverkusen drew against Union Berlin. But with both of them drawing, it remains 6 points behind clear of Leverkusen. As I said, if they had won that, they would have moved 8 points clear, and at that point it's probably over. But 6 points clear, it's still potentially on for Leverkusen to win this title. And I guess we'll go to Ligue 1 and just round up there, because actually, yeah, Ligue 1, there was some really big battles for the top 4 race. Monaco smashed Marseille 3-0, and there was a big one here. Strasbourg needs a late goal from Nice, 94th minute equaliser. Absolutely huge. Lyon also won, which means that yeah, this is the table now. Monaco have moved above Marseille, who are in some really bad form, 4 losses in the last 5, and Strasbourg remain above Nice, but if they had beaten Nice, they would have actually moved into the top 4, so a really, really damaging late goal there from Nice, who just about keep their top 4 hopes alive in League. PSG are still yet to play. Very weird, I must say, scheduling that they've not, then they're playing on a Monday, PSG, when they've got a Tuesday. Oh no, okay, no, they're not playing, okay. I was gonna say, because I was like, PSG haven't played yet, when are they gonna play? I was like, they have a Champions League time Tuesday, season. Let me know your thoughts on any of the games we discussed, and if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see